Chapter 8. A pack of huge, angry monkeys, growling and shrieking, surrounded a recently born calf who trembled with helpless, weeping eyes. She mooed for her mother. While walking through the village, I happened to come upon this scene. As I searched for a suitable stick to help, the mother cow released a powerful cry and frantically galloped to the site. With her horns and her fearless love, she scattered the monkeys away. Now, with eyes glazed by affection, the cow tenderly licked her baby until the calf was pacified enough to suck milk from her udder. While I observed the scene, I recalled Lord Chaitanya's teaching that we should chant God's name in a humble state of mind, like a baby calling out for its mother. Coming from a background where humility was often taken to be a weakness, I seriously questioned what real humility is and how it works, not knowing that I was about to come upon an unforgettable lesson on the subject. One day, Shripad Baba led Asim and me to an ancient temple. Looking inside, we saw a cavernous hall of red stone with a towering ceiling. The temple had been abandoned long ago. In the semi-darkness, monkeys were sleeping, and huge black bats hung upside down from the border of a dome high above, stains of their excrement spotting the slab floor. We walked past the temple, moving along a crumbling footpath that abruptly came to an end. Bordering the path was an open sewage canal about 2 feet wide. Shripad prompted us, laughing. "Come on, I want to show you a very special temple." We stepped onto a single rock used as a bridge to cross the moat. Once on the other side, we found ourselves in a quaint home where children jumped and played while the mother squatted on the floor cooking over a small fire. What kind of temple could this be, I wondered. To my surprise, in a common closet, I beheld an incredible sight. An altar enthroning deities of Radha and Krishna. They stood about 2 feet high, Krishna of black stone and Radha of shining bell metal. They looked ancient. Oddly, the family seemed indifferent to the radiant deities gracing their home. But as we drew closer, we noticed an old man in torn cloth fanning the deities of the Lord, his eyes filled with tears of devotion. A small, thin man, in his 70s, he had soft eyes. His head and face were shaved, and he looked incredibly frail. Hurrying out of the closet, he bowed to the feet of each of his guests. On his knees, he welcomed us again and again with tears of gratitude. "I am your obedient servant," he faltered. "Please bless me." He gestured toward the deities in the closet. "Please meet Radha and Krishna. Krishna called you here today because you are his dear friends. But as for me, I am only a tiny servant. My only fortune is to serve. Please allow me to serve you." This was my first encounter with Ghanasham. As Shripad Baba told him how we had traveled so far to reach Vrindavan, Ghanasham thrilled with wonder. "Krishna has called you to cross oceans and continents from a faraway land," Ghanasham said. "He has been waiting so long for you, and now you have come." His voice cracked. "Yes, now you have come." Ghanasham's small, aged face looked so gentle and frail. His small, misty eyes, rounded nose, thin lips, and delicate wrinkles gave him an expression of permanent melancholy. The tone of his soft voice echoed with the same feeling. But underneath it, his heart and soul overflowed with such ecstatic love that it filled the lives of whoever came near him. Seeing us standing before his deities, Ganesham was overwhelmed with joy. I began to spend more time with this devoted man. Every morning at 9, I was drawn down that shambled footpath to his closet room temple. I found his company irresistible. Whenever I arrived, he extended the same affectionate greeting. "I am your obedient servant." And he meant it. He gave everything without expectation of anything and loved doing so. I longed for this quality in myself. One morning, as Ganesham and I sat alone, I asked him how he first came to Vrindavan. He bowed his head. "My story is of no importance," he said. Then he gazed up in wonder. "But Krishna's mercy upon a sinner is worth hearing." Softly he began to tell me how he was raised in an affluent family. "When I was a young man, my family made pilgrimage to Vrindavan. It was here that the net of the Lord's grace captured my heart. I had no power to go away." As he narrated his story, Ganesham shrunk in meekness. He told of how his family was aghast by his resolve to give up a promising career and stay in Vrindavan. "They threatened to cut me off from our wealth, but I was unmoved. Krishna had stolen my heart." Sleeping on the ground and daily begging for dry bread from the homes of the Brijabasis, he never once hankered after his former wealth. Instead, he said, "I felt grateful to serve Krishna in his sweet home." Ganesham's dark eyes moved about like a timid child. He said, "For a long time my heart yearned to worship a deity. Then came a day I will not ever forget. While sitting under a tree in a nearby garden, I etched with my finger the name Sri Radha in the dusty ground. The whole of that day, I worshipped the impression of her written name in the soft dust with flowers, songs, and prayers. Finally, at sunset, I erased Radha's name with my hand." Ganesham fell silent. Gazing at his beloved deities, he struggled visibly to restrain his emotions, and after a long pause, resumed his story. "While rubbing the ground, I saw something gold where her name had been. I was intrigued. What is this, I thought. Let me come back when no one is around. Early the next morning, I dug with my hands in that spot where Radha had been present in her holy name." Ganesham now lost the battle he'd been waging to restrain his feelings. Tears streamed down his cheeks as he related in a trembling voice the tale of his love. "That golden object my fingers had been led to was the top of the head of my Radha. Her deity appeared to me from the earth, and standing beside her, there, underground, was a black deity of Lord Krishna. At his base was written his name, Gopi Jana Ballabha, the beloved of the cowherd girls. His high voice cracked. But I had nothing. What could I possibly do for them? Ganesham gazed lovingly toward his deities and murmured, I do not know why they did so, but they put themselves under my care. So I have cared for them day and night. In the beginning, passers-by would donate some food for me to offer. For a long time, I worshipped them under a tree. Then, the forefathers of this family, feeling sympathy at seeing Radha Gopi Jana Ballabha without a home, offered their closet as a shelter. I've worshipped them here for over 50 years. As the weeks passed, I gained much inspiration studying the character of Ganesham. I am your obedient, he would say, while trying to give me everything he had. Together, we sang for Gopi Jana Ballabha, or fanned them with peacock feather fans. Every day he insisted that I eat the Lord's prasadam, 3 braja rotis, or simple breads. Braja rotis are the most common food for the people of Vrindavan. Although from an ordinary perspective, a braja roti is nothing but a dry, flat piece of coarse, unleavened bread, for those with faith, it was a priceless blessing. Grown in the soil of Vrindavan and cooked and offered to Krishna by the hands of a devotee, the braja roti is considered a holy sacrament. With gratitude, I ate the braja rotis of Ganesham. One afternoon, while bathing in the river, I happened to see a familiar sadhu. Expecting to receive the customary blessings this Baba always offered, I was blindsided by the harsh reprimand he served me instead. Because of you, he shouted from the riverbank, Ganesham is starving. I don't understand, I cried out. He glared at me. A Brijabasi brings him 3 rotis every day. That is his only food, and every day you eat all of it. How selfish. What? I gasped while climbing up the riverbank. This cannot be. Please believe me, I never knew. The next day, Ganesham sat me down on the floor of his simple dwelling and lovingly served me the braja rotis. I pushed the leaf plate away. I'm not hungry today and will not eat, I said. Hearing my words, Ganesham was stricken with sorrow. You must eat. This is Gopi Jana Ballabha's food. He saved it only for you. I refused. With joined palms, trembling, he pleaded, Is it because of my sins that you will not accept my service? Please, eat my rotis. My heart was breaking. I pleaded with him, Ganesham, you're starving because I'm eating all of your rotis. I can get rotis anywhere, but you never leave here. But I have so many rotis, Ganesham insisted. There is no shortage. Again, he set the plate down in front of me. Please, I beg you to eat and enjoy. Again, I pushed it away. If you have more rotis, show them to me. No need, no need. He spoke quietly in a high-pitched voice that shook with desperation. I said, I refuse to accept your only food until you show me more. He raised his voice to meet my challenge. No need, no need. They are in that room. I jumped up and searched the room, but found nothing in it. Ganesham, there are no rotis there. You have been starving because of me. Please, please, you eat these rotis. Ghanshyam's eyes filled with tears as he revealed his precious heart. "You are Gopi Jana Ballabha's friend, but I am only the servant of his servants. My only happiness in life is in serving devotees. I beg you to enjoy these rotis." With palms folded in prayer, he pleaded, "I beg you, do not deprive me of the single thing I live for." I cried on witnessing his selfless love. For the pleasure of dear Ghanshyam, I ate all his rotis. The next day I came 2 hours later than usual, assuming he would have eaten his rotis by then. Ghanshyam rejoiced. "Krishna Das, Ratin Krishna Das, you have finally come. Gopi Jana Ballabha has been waiting for you." I could not believe what I saw. The rotis were still on the altar. Ghanshyam explained, "My Lord will not honor my offering until he has the company of a friend. Krishna has saved these rotis only for you." With these words, he placed all the rotis before me to eat. He said, "Only when you eat will Sri Radha accept me as her servant." Again, I was defeated. One day, a well-wisher presented Ghanshyam new clothes. He shyly looked away from them and poured out his heart. "This body accepts only the worn remnants from devotees." Ghanshyam only wore used cloth previously worn by a sadhu. He considered it priceless. Another night, I found Ghanshyam sitting alone, singing beautiful ragas and playing a small harmonium. Absorbed in devotion, he was unaware I had entered the room. Although I could not understand the language of the song, the sweetness of his devotion revealed everything. Sometimes his voice lilted with joy. At other times, it mourned in feelings of separation from his beloved. I had been told that in his youth he was a court musician in the palace of a king. He was so absorbed in his singing that an hour passed before he noticed my arrival. Discovering me, he radiated with joy. "Krishna Das, you have come!" He asked if I would help him to put his deities in a bed for the night. For 50 years he had done this every night, but now in his old age he was too weak to lift them. I felt honored to oblige. As I was departing, he inquired, "Krishna Das, where will you rest tonight?" "On the bank of the Yamuna, where I rest every night." He held my hand and stroked my head like a worried father. "But it is the freezing winter. You must sleep here tonight." "But Ghanshyam, I sleep there every night." "Tonight you sleep here, please," Ghanshyam said. He slept on the floor of a narrow hallway outside the closet. The family used it as a throughway in the house, stepping around him. As I lay on the floor, Ghanshyam placed his only blanket over me. I could not allow this to happen. Snatching up the threadbare blanket, I handed it back to him. "This is your blanket. You must use it." "No need, no need," he sighed in a high voice, refusing to take the blanket. "You are an old man, and I am young. You must use it." I again handed him the blanket, but he jumped back. "No need, no need." An argument ensued, but he insisted. I threatened to return to the riverbank. I dropped the blanket and stormed toward the door. "No need, no need!" He picked up the blanket. "I will use the blanket." So I lay down beside him, curled up to keep warm on that cold winter night, and fell asleep. Sometime later, I awoke, wondering why I was so warm. I looked over at Ganesham, who was lying on the floor, trembling from the cold like a leaf in a windstorm. There was no blanket on him. I realized that he silently placed it over me when I fell asleep. Quietly, I covered him with it. As soon as the blanket touched him, he leaped and shouted, "No need, no need! You are Krishna's friend. You must enjoy good sleep." "Then I will go to the Yamuna," I cried out, while again storming to the door. Again he agreed to accept the threadbare blanket. But later in the night, I awoke feeling nice and warm. There was my dear Ganesham, his frail old body violently shivering in the cold. I tried again to place the blanket upon him. "No need, no need!" Ganesham loved to serve everyone he met. In 50 years, he never left the area around the small temple except to bring water to the Lord. Indeed, he could not dream of leaving his deities, to whose service he dedicated his life and soul. Early one morning, while on my way from the river, I was surprised to see the aged form of Ganesham in a lonesome alleyway, stumbling and falling. I rushed to help him. With great pains, he struggled to carry a bucket of water that he had collected from the Yamuna to bathe his deities. After every few steps, he stood limp in exhaustion. "Ganesham, please allow me to carry the bucket." With a stern glance, he replied, "No need, no need." I could not bear to see him toil in this way. "Please, please, I am young. With no difficulty, I will have it at your temple in 5 minutes. You are very old and weak. It will take you half an hour. Please let me take it." That innocent smile of little old Ganesham radiated from his face as he pleaded, "You are Gopi Jana Ballabha's friend. You should enjoy. I am his old servant. My life is to serve. You go now and enjoy Vrindavan. That will make me happy." His humility simultaneously melted my heart and worried my mind. "Please," I said, "I will be most happy to carry your bucket." I gripped the handle of the bucket and pulled. Ganesham's entire body tensed like a tree, freezing with determination. He grasped that handle with all his strength. He clenched it as a man helplessly hanging from a cliff clings to the rope that separates him from death. His eyes searched mine in desperation. "I am an old man. My only wealth is my service." His eyes grew red and swelled with tears. "If you take away my service to the Lord, you will take away my life. Please, allow me to live. Please." My heart sank. What else could I do? I gave him his life back and his bucket. But when he noted my anxiety for him, he consented to our carrying it together, side by side, asking me every minute if I was all right. One night, Ganesham suggested that I visit Barsana, a nearby village that was the home of Radha. He softly cried out, "Krishnadas, your life will never be the same after you feel the atmosphere of Barsana." Seeing my enthusiasm, he shyly added, "When you go, please tell Sri Radha that her tiny servant Ganesham wishes to see her." My heart was deeply affected by this little old man who lived in obscurity. He was not a learned scholar, a famous guru, or a mystic yogi, but he was a true saint. His humility was his expression of love for God. At one time I had thought, like many in the West, that humility was an act of self-effacement, a weakness that revealed a lack of self-confidence or self-care, even a negative obsession that could lead to a sense of inferiority or depression. But I was discovering, in the company of people like Ganesham, that true humility was the opposite of that, for it connected us to an inexhaustible power beyond our own, the power of grace. True humility is a universal pride in the greatness of God and a genuine appreciation for the virtues of others. Real humility, I was finding, did not mean I ought to be cowardly and shrink from challenges, but propelled me to strive with all my resources to overcome challenges with integrity, respect, love, and gratitude, to be as much as possible an instrument of the divine. In real humility, there is a deeper principle than our sad need to feel superior to others. That higher principle prevents us from being arrogant and condescending toward those we feel are inferior. It protects us from being envious toward those who we feel are more accomplished. When one is humble, one feels grateful and gives credit to the Lord and all those who have ever offered help. With a humble heart, one can easily admit mistakes and open one's heart to learn. Becoming humble is not the act of killing the ego, but liberating the real ego, which is eternally vibrant with love for God and love for others. The most profound mystery I was finding is that to the degree one possesses these exalted characteristics, he feels himself to be very small, a part of God and the servant of all. To selflessly serve others was Ganesham's heart's only joy. Ganesham Baba was one of the happiest and wealthiest men I had ever met, a simple man who simply loved God.